What's going on in the world today? What's up, America? I'm excited to be here. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper. I am going to drop some heat on you probably for the next 45 minutes to an hour. This is what I shared with my group here recently. Some of you guys were asking from my Insta story. What was it? Well, I put it on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. So do you want to become someone that can inspire others with your innovative ideas, turn those ideas into reality, and then create a dedicated group of friends, peers, partners, real estate agents that's going to help you replicate and scale those ideas into sustainable change? If so, that is the work of a real estate thought leader, and that's what we're going to cover tonight. So grab your pen, grab a piece of paper. I'm going to give you a quick summary. You're probably a leader, maybe a leader of a traditional team, a leader of a modern team. Maybe you're a leader in an ISA department or a transactions department, or you're leading buyer agents or listing agents or a division of some brokerage, or perhaps you're not even leading a team yet or others. However, you have enough presence and you have enough expertise in certain areas inside of the real estate community where people respect you. And your next step is thought leadership. Transforming from a sales leader to thought leadership is both internal growth. Now, you must be able to change yourself to become an effective leader, communicator, and game changer. At some point, you must cultivate and educate a community and the world using your unique expertise inside the real estate game, i.e. becoming a public figure, a person of influence, and it's no simple task. I've built this up over 10 years. However, I'm going to give you the tools, the strategies, and the resources and the advice that you can do this for yourself as well. Just 17 months ago, I restarted from scratch, rebuilt a modern real estate team from zero, and now we're shooting for close to 500 agents, 18 different markets, and also building in Canada. At the time, before I joined eXp, we were 11th in the nation as an independent broker in transactions, according to the Wall Street Journal. Now, why is thought leadership important? Okay, there's a significant gap between the impact you can have as a sales agent versus a modern team leader inside the real estate game. While leaders affect change, all around them with the ripple effect, thought leaders galvanize, their team, their agents, their staff members, their followers, maybe their coaching clients to move change forward much more broadly. Okay, thought leadership guarantees you'll have the platform to influence others, and it goes well beyond titles or individual accomplishments or even individual sales. I'm going to break down 10 big ideas that's been able to help me over the last, I'd probably say, really 5 years. As we've built a big traditional teams, we're building big modern teams. So I'm going to give you what it really takes. Big idea number one, what it really takes. While leaders usually lead one organization, one team, or, one community. Thought leaders really scale change and big ideas across the real estate industry in regions, nationally, and now internationally, as we have agents, onboarding and we're building within Canada. All right. Now, when you're ready to scale your influence and impact your legacy, which really matters, that's when you're really, beginning and ready to begin this journey from a sales leader or a producer into agent, ran business to a CEO level position, which is the thought leader. Being able to galvanize others to think new thoughts, modify the way that they're currently doing business or the way that it's always been done, and embark on new behaviors, new paths, and new actions to be able to transform the real estate industry. And I feel like we are really doing that, right? But this can happen with any platform. And so needless to say, thought leaders usually become public figures. They're publishing content. They're documenting their processes, their storytelling around their results. They must develop their expertise and their craft, for whatever point of view or niche that they're really going to dominate in. And they must possess the confidence to expand, share, and spread those ideas. All right. There's going to be a series of steps to take, throughout developing a reputation as a thought leader inside of real estate. You must find yourself starting on this journey, and there's usually 7 steps that you're going to go through, and I'm going to give you those 7 steps as well inside of this big idea number 1. As a thought leader, you'll be expected to take a stand and show others a new way forward, to be able to change the way that the game is done inside of your market. All right, and you'll need consistently to develop your communication skills and maintain your energy throughout this run. You may even, make a few mistakes along the way, just like I have over the last 17 months to, build an organization pushing 500 agents. I've never grew at this speed. So have we made some mistakes? Yes. However, the most important traits of a thought leader is their ability to listen, learn, and adapt to the change or the growth of the changing partners around them, and being able to execute within this new growth of expansion. So here's my checklist. How am I doing so far? All right. Do I have a clear view on the future that I would like to see and bring about that future? Am I clear? All right. My goal was to have 100. It took us 9 years to build an organization up over 90 agents in a couple of different markets. 90 agents in 9 years. So I was like, if I could have 100, 150 agents in a year, that would be great. We had 90 to 100 agents in 90 days. So I had to get clear on the future and make some adjustments. And so you want to come back to this checklist often. Do you have a group of loyal friends, colleagues, and coworkers, past and present, that can and will help you test out your new ideas, implement your new ideas, and work alongside you with the new projects or initiatives that you're taking on? If so, who are they? Identify them. And the third thing is, I enjoy and have the skills to enroll others to adapt my vision of the future and to join my team or to get in financial alignment with me, right? Am I comfortable stepping into the limelight? I'm not afraid to speak up. I'm not afraid to speak on stage and share what I know publicly or in person on Zoom calls or in a Facebook or Instagram feed just like this. All right. The 5th thing, I achieved and have developed a blueprint, a methodology, or framework that others can follow, and it's replicatable and duplicatable for what I've achieved. Okay. Number 6, I think about and manage my personal and social brand online and offline, and I guarantee I'm discoverable. I have mind share with people. A lot of people want to pick up market share, but you can't pick up market share until you have mind share. And if you have mind share before you pick up market share, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. All right. I've identified ways to pass the baton to my peers, my partners, agents, coaching clients, like content, programs, operational support, documents, systems, all of that stuff that you could just take and easily implant into your business. Okay. So that's my checklist. How am I doing so far? Now, your big idea number 2 is, what is your driving passion? The first step to becoming a better leader is clearly defining your niche and starting there. Not really starting with one, maybe most two arenas that you could step into and dominate, where you could be recognized as a go-to person. It's best to begin by defining this narrow niche and building out from there. All right. Think in terms of credentials. What are you really committed to, and your expertise, and finding that sweet spot right in the middle. For me, when I got into the game 10 years ago, I helped build an inside sales agents department, a resource center, a call center inside real estate, when traditional teams were just kind of getting built, and everyone told us we couldn't, execute on the ISA model. The client would suffer, and blah, 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 blah. I quickly became known as the expert ISA person, as we went from 388 homes sold to 688, and then 688 to 853 to 900 some 50 some homes sold to well over 1,000. And then we started a coaching company off that, and that was my niche. And then I worked out in the field, and then I had gained ownership. Then I started building the team. Then I started building credentials and upping my expertise level and team building. And then people followed us for how we built our team from 2012 to 2015. 2017, we were ranked 9th to 12th in the nation in units sold, according to the Wall Street Journal. So we became known for team building, right? And then naturally through that became expansion. And I've really been focused on expansion for like 7 years. And so now my niche is, modern teams, and focus on expansion and duplicating, what we did with our traditional team and using that as a nest to build a modern team. All right. So what exactly, do you hope to change as a result of your influence in your teachings? For me early on, it was how to set qualified buyer appointments, listing appointments, and control that client experience, for agents and for the client alike, right? How will people think or act differently in the arena you represent? How's the ISA model going to affect them, right? How's the client going to work back with the ISA and the agent? These are things I had to figure out before I even started coaching, because we learned through trial and error with our own team. What new teachings will and how will it impact a new partner's life or an agent's life or a team member's life? What metrics or stats will have been improved by what you have implemented or what you have become an expert on inside of your niche with your passion, right? And so I want you to think like, what if I implemented this model or I implemented this model into my business? Or what if I implemented this change with a partner? What would it look like, right? What would your ideas and methodologies and your tactics and your strategies, what would they change? What would be the net result? All right. And that's what you have to think about to be able to articulate how things would be different. You have to be able to describe what would the future look like if you made these changes, right? Like when I'm reaching out to people, I've had, number one teams and other markets partner with me. I've had independents fold their independent business into partner with me. And I had to really paint a picture. What if you took the risk? What if, right, you did this? This is what your future would hold if you follow these steps and you implement this into your business, right? And so wherever you're going to start with your niche, it could be, specializing in listings, specializing with buyers and marketing, whatever. We have teams that specialize that just build seller databases. We have some teams that just build buyer databases, right? What is your niche? And how can you go out and become the go-to person in your market, and then move it up into your region, and then take it nationally and internationally, all right? Number 3, build your ripples of influence. After identifying your what if future with agents, partners, staff members, the people that you're trying to change their life, the first people who you share your idea with and your visions should be people that's already in business with you, right? Your close colleagues, your friends, people that's already in business with you, and be able to get their response and their feedback, and be able to identify what they liked about your ideas and how it could be most impactful, and what they didn't like about those ideas. Ask for feedback before you just roll it out to the masses. All right. And then once you make some modifications and changes, that you had got from this feedback loop with your closest people, then you want to create a hit list. All right. And it's testing and sharing your ideas, like with early allies, building these first ripples of influence, you expand your adjacent possibilities. The adjacent possibilities really represent what you can achieve, the doors that open while you expand your awareness and how you're changing other people's lives or helping other agents or team leaders become more profitable, and getting feedback from them and constantly getting better with fresher insight. Each new thing you learn in turn basically is going to create a new adjacent possibility, like a series of doors to explore new rooms and partnerships that you've never been in before. For me, I've went out and shared this new model of how we're building modern teams, our past experience, how we're taking a lot of them same principles and amplifying it on a national and international level. I shared this model with 22 agents that helped me go build an organization that is gunning for 500 agents right now. And so those 22 people went and helped open other doors for me. And then I got to taproot into their sphere, their networks, their partnerships, and to collaboratively work with them. And then I learned from them and they learned from me. All right. And so that's just a good way of looking at this. Start with your sphere, then start with a hit list, then taproot and start to open other doors and change other their lives. Make a list of ways that your what if future will benefit these people. This will help you, remind you what you set out to do, right? Because you're going to run into roadblocks. Some doors will open, some doors will not open, right? But you have to stay on your purpose, and you have to keep the target and the goal the main thing. And this is about changing lives, creating a better future for real estate agents, getting in financial alignment with partners, and then building better systems for your clients. Now, what's been successful for myself as well, because I'm sharing things that I have documented over the process of my 10 years to be able to get me to where I'm at, right? And number 4 is activate your advocates. Shameless plug with my eXp cup, right? Activate your advocates, right? Get your ideas circulating in your public sphere. You'll need to organize and deploy, the broader team, not just everything on your shoulders to be able to execute and get this done. Many of your greatest allies will be those who are familiar with you, like you, trust you, believe in you, and that's going to start this first ripple stage. However, you'll need to go beyond these folks and seek out those with, greater power in different spheres and influence. And I talked about taprooting and some of that stuff that, we can get into later. I'll drop my calendar here. We got a whole system for what we're doing, and you'll need to find, champions and allies alike. Some could be both, but you have to think about, you have to think about a champion versus an ally. Like, allies could be your agents, expansion partners, maybe traditional partners, staff members, peers, stuff like that. But the champions are other influencers that's connected inside the industry, right? Like your title leaders, your co-marketing lenders, right? Inspectors, other people that are in the industry that you may be triangulated with or connected with, that if you get them the right systems and the right information, and you're running like a raving fans type of program with them, then they're going to want, and you're running a good, healthy, clean business that people are attracted to, they're going to be able to identify other agents or other like-minded people that could be a good fit for your business. Or if they're just unhappy and looking for change, better leadership, they're looking for more opportunities, then those champions could connect you and plug you. All right. And so you really want to identify your advocates and work with them. And I'll get into some of that stuff here in a few minutes. All right. Now, the 5th thing is what I call sparring. Okay. You want to spar. All right. Before you activate them champions and your allies, you want to make sure that your message is ready and you have a predictable process, whether it's onboarding, how they're delivered information, how they're exposed to your processes or your value propositions. And so you want to be able to set up tracking and connecting tools with your champions and your allies. Okay, i.e. tracking sheets, master trackers, all of that stuff to figure out where you're getting a business from, or where you're getting referrals of agents or partners or people that you could get in business with. And, that's the S. And then the P is prepare a message template in terms of controlling the content, controlling, the actionable items and stuff like that. So you want to work with those people and make sure that they stay loaded up with your templates, your message, your links, when your next lunch and learns are, your live events, or your career nights, or whatever it may be. All right. And then A of SPAR is articulate your plan of action. And I kind of, touched on that. Like, everybody can give flyers and talk about features and benefits, but we want to talk about net results and a plan of action that is easy for them to go through, and it's confidential, right? And you might have to, the next part to SPAR is rehearse. You might have to role play with the lender people, your title people, role play with them so they're not just winging it or handing out your number. You really have a system and a process for that, right? And that's what I would say sparring. But the setting up with the tracking and the connecting tools and how you're going to reward your champions and your allies is also just as important. All right. Now, number 6. Put your dang eye on the line as you progress through your thought leadership journey, and you start to really evolve. There's going to be plenty of times where you don't feel completely confident. Maybe you don't feel educated enough on a particular issue if you're just starting to build a team, or you're just starting to go from building a traditional team to a modern team, or if you never segmented your business with buyer agents or listing agents, or built a client care resource center, right? And or maybe you don't have the skills to expand the way that you want to expand yet, and you're going to have to you're going to have to create some resiliency to be able to step in front of the room, or to study on a certain topic, or to reach out from mentors, or to be able to get in front of a small group of people to bring this new idea about. Well, it could be current agents, current team leaders, to be able to influence them to see the vision of the new changes coming. You must fail forward, or find a way just to be able to move forward. And how do you do that? We've always heard fell forward, right? And you have to really look into your inner strengths that got you to where you're at today, and build your courage by thinking of people you're standing for and you're trying to help, i.e. your clients, the agents, your future expansion partners. And it's imperative, for you to reflect on the future that you've envisioned for your team, your business. And you have to ask yourself, if not me, then who? And you're going to have to get over that fear, and you're going to have to just take action and just do it. Remember, leaders that are in these roles, we're people too. And we need help from time to time, so set yourself up a reinforcement when you're connecting with your allies and your champions and your expansion partners. And, you guys can start a mastermind group. We have a mastermind group. It happens every 90 days. Actually, we're just about to go to Vegas. We're all going to get together, share what's working, what isn't working. I'm going to learn from people that is over 1,000 agents, and try to shortcut or cut out some of them pitfalls, so I can, collapse time and grow that much faster. So, do your research, find a mastermind group, or find pacing partners that are on the same track as you, right? And they can work alongside you guys for you guys to collaborate, learn together, critically think together, and without a doubt, you guys will all start creating together. And you have to look for these trusted people, and they're not going to be just right down your street, right? They could be on the other side of the nation, or in a state right next door. And you're going to want to be able to, pick up the phone, call them, ask for feedback, seeing what's working, and being able to talk to them on a regular basis. The people that's in my mastermind that I may be in financial alignment with or not in financial alignment with, I can call them or send them a message, and they'll get back with me, ASAP. And then I have the people below me that I do that same thing with. How do you stop burnout? It happens to all of us, right? And so leveraging these masterminds, going and refueling and refreshing your soul and your energy and just your mindset is going to help. But what's also good is to write down 10 reasons that you would took on the role or the journey that you're currently in. What's the 10 reasons? I know my 10 reasons. I know why I was 11th in the nation in units sold at that time when I jumped to eXp. And I know how much it cost me, and I know why I did it, right? So write your reasons down, make them visual, hang them up. So when you're having tough days, or you're in a rut, or you're in a slump, and everybody's looking for you to pull the team out of it, you can reflect back on why you're doing what you're doing. Write down the reasons why the future and creating this future is imperative. What's the net result, right? Who's it going to affect? Not just you. Who else is it going to affect, right? And then pull it from within to be able to move forward and just do it. Number 7 is being able to codify your lessons learned. This has been huge for me over the last 10 years to be able to make what I've done duplicatable with traditional teams and the modern teams. And in this modern networked era, communication is usually simple and brief text, short emails, official statements, unless they're coming from my operations guy. He's very well thought out and drives a lot of content. But with me, it's very bulletin point. I'm a high D. And to be able to fit this model, you're going to have to be able to turn your ideas into digestible, concise, and accessible talking points and framework as you're helping people expand and grow. After all, the goal is for other people to carry these ideas far and wide, right? That's how you're going to be able to grow as fast as we're growing, and to make it duplicatable and to create leverage in the lifestyle that you're looking for. And so you're going to have to be able to document what you're doing. And so the best way to get started with it, that is to know exactly what you're really, really, really good at, and what you could share with them to remove constraints or to help them right now, right? And the best way to do this is to start a journal, right? This is private to you. It contains your notes, how you've overcome challenges to be able to get the results that you've got, and the successes that you've implemented to be able to make the massive change that you may have in your business, and or when you resolve difficult situations. I know many times when we change our structure plan, or we've tested every ISA model under the planet before we cracked the code with the hybrid model. I took notes and documented and captured all of that stuff, so when it was now in turn for me to go teach that, when I could see they were exactly where I was at when I needed to pivot and make certain changes, and here's all the different changes I made before I cracked the code. You don't need to do all these other things. You just need to do this and execute on this to be able to get the net result. All right, so write down specific steps needed for others to follow in your footsteps, and distill those into a blueprint, step-by-step guide that shows others the way forward. My operations guy has been with me a long time. He's seen us grow, trial and error. And when people reach out to me, I'm like, hit Trent up. We already have that on file. We have one of the biggest swipe files probably in the United States. I've coached with everybody dang near in the nation, outside of the industry as well. I study, and then also just through my own life experience and our team's life experience. And so to be able to create this library to share with others, it's powerful, and visuals work best. And so the better you can document with visuals and PDFs and stuff like that, the better. You got to translate that from them notes into something that's digestible, right? So I had a team that partnered with me out of Missouri doing about 200 units. And through working with us, and he's also worked with some other people, right? And he's a great leader. He went from 200 units to he's going to close close to 600 units. But there's many times he's called me, through this year of our partnership, and the building's on fire, right? And I'm like, hold on. You're exactly where we were in 2013 or 2012 or 2015. Here's the resources. Here's how we solve that problem, or here's where you need to go look elsewhere if you also want to vet out some other resources, right? And so that's powerful when you could do that. The next step, number 8, is you need to put yourself what I call on shout. All right, and we'll start with the S, being able to select your audience. Like for me, I know who follows me. It's usually that 25 to 45 male, right? That's building a team, in the middle of building a team, or operating at a high level that's trying to go from agent to CEO mode, right? Like I worked myself out of the field, 7 years ago, or maybe 6 years ago. Just 10 years ago, I was making $300 a week as an ISA. Quickly started working in the field. Quickly flipped that to team building. Teams started growing so fast, we had to work on people, processes, marketing. Then boom, we had that scale. Next step was expansion, right? There are plenty of methods for getting your message out, and you're going to have to be able to figure out who's following you, whose life you can change, and then start to get in front of those people, creating lunch and learns, try to get speaking gigs, social media, podcast, videos like this. Start running some small webinars, or go co-host webinars. Start writing articles and building on one piece at a time. And I'll get more into some of that stuff later. That's really helped me, from YouTube to Facebook to some of these other platforms. But the H with shout is honing your message, and the best way to deliver your message is through storytelling. Tell your own authentic story, and don't worry about getting judged. People are going to judge you anyways. Whether you're perfect, not perfect, it's all part of growth. Someone's going to connect with your vibe. Them same vibrations you put out into the world are going to be the same ones that you get back. Tell your story, and tell the story of your partners, and empower others to tell their stories alongside your partners. That's been powerful for us with our growth and what we've been able to do, and leveraging all of our backgrounds, all of our expertise and stuff like that. Now the O in shout is overcoming resistance. The primary resistance you're going to face is that of your own time and your own commitment to be able to better your own future, and to better your own future of those around you that are following you, believing in you. All right, that's going to be that struggle right there is going to be your number one struggle. It's not really going to be anyone else. There will be some resistance that come up along the ways, but that's nothing compared to your own mental model and your own mindset and your own stories that you tell yourself, right? And you have to think of this journey and, whatever pillar you're putting into your business as a means to a better future to be able to work your way out of the business. This is what this is all about. We all got into real estate for, time, money, and value that's going to be able to propel freedom, right? And in some sick, weird way, I don't know too many people that have the freedom, that I've been able to create, my partners have been able to create, and we're helping other partners create, right? Everything you say and do has to tie back to this freedom, right? And you have to speak it into existence. You're going to have to really advance those thoughts and in that role, and then you're going to wake up one day and be like, man, how did I get here? You solve enough problems, you remove enough constraints, you develop enough leaders, you're going to be able to create enough leverage to keep pulling people up through your organization, all right? And then the U to shout is understanding potential pitfalls. When building modern teams, say we, not I. People want to be able to weigh in, to actually buy in. And early on, building the team, that was one of the things, I struggled with. I was doing a lot. And so I was using the word I a lot, but also I was getting a lot of support that I may not have seen at the time or recognized. And so we, us, them, team is going to go a hell of a lot further than walking around and saying I, right? And you want to be able to give yourself an opportunity to stay up to date with changes as you turn over power to a lead buyer agent, coaches on your teams, expansion partners, lead listing agents, or just within the industry to be able to stay relevant with your audience and with your teammates. You do not want to become a boring team leader as you work into the CEO model. You still want to put your fingerprints on stuff, but you want to be able to lead from a macro level, not a micro level, right? Most of us have control issues. No one can do it as well as we can do it. And so you have to ask yourself, if they can do it as good as me, 70 to 80% as well as I can do it, then live with it, because now you can move on to creating more leverage in your business and focus on that other 20% that really drives 80% of probably the bottom line or the production. Okay. Now T, transform individuals or agents into a community. And this is huge. As a leader, you must consistently show others how they can evolve and contribute to grow with their ideas, their feedback, and then help you also execute your idea. Are you always going to agree upon shit? No. You have to disagree and commit. But if you're running things like a dictator all the time, no one's going to want to disagree with you and then go and commit to something that they don't believe in. Will they do it here or there? Or you might not agree with everything, but it's best for the team because they're working in the trenches. They're your feedback loop. So you have to create a collaborative environment, and this is even what we're doing nationally. I have teams collaborating with each other from Dallas up to over to Alabama. Now we're bringing Florida into the mix, right? And then all the way up to Ontario, Canada, and then back over to Kansas City. And then we have Seattle going, and we all collaborate together, learn together, think together, and create together. Okay. And then the next idea is being able to tell your story online. And this has been huge for me, right? In terms of building influence, being able to not just create content. I'm kind of giving you guys notes that I delivered to, my group of, 400 or 500 agents. And these are my notes, but normally I'm just documenting in real life time, right? You don't have to go and create or worry about publishing a bunch of content unless you're going to do some articles and some other stuff. Then you want to be thoughtful with your structure of your content. But for me, it was just being able to document what we were already doing in the call center, documenting how I was already furthering and building the team, how we were selling more homes, right? Documenting how we were expanding and creating that fun online with telling my story and others. And over 10 years, I was able to not just build a brand, but I was able to build a personal brand that people could follow, they could connect with, they could laugh at me. When I first started shooting videos just 10 years ago, if you look at my YouTube videos from 10 years ago, I sucked. I probably still suck on this video, right? But it's okay because I continuously get better, and you should too, right? And then you want to take your content and then you want to start repurposing it to maximize your influence and maximize your reach. I'll give you an example. So I'm shooting this content right here. Most of you guys will probably see it on Facebook, right? Just as a straight, 40-minute to an hour feed, however long we run this. We're about finished here. And then all of my notes I'm going to take and put into an article. And then I'm going to put the video and publish an article on LinkedIn. And then I'm going to publish it on Medium. And then I'm going to publish it on some other places, right? And then I'm going to have some backlinks to some other offers and opportunities. Or you can hopefully click my calendar to be able to chat with me about anything that you want to chat about. Set up a 15-minute conversation. And then I'll start to cut out snippets of like where it was a good minute or a good little rant. And then I'll put a wrap around it. And then I'll let that thing fly on Instagram, right? Maybe some shorter content, right? Or I'm also recording this in a vertical way from another phone. And then, I might go back and edit, some things that were fillers in this or whatever to shrink it down to something that's really good for Instagram TV. And then I'll publish it on Instagram TV. Right? And then I'm going to upload the whole thing on Facebook on YouTube with some keywords or whatever. I've been feeding content to there forever. And so tell your story. Don't worry about creating. Document until you get to a point where you can start documenting / creating better perennial content. Repurpose your content across all platforms. Do something once. Get multiple uses out of it for reach. And then you want to be able to track your engagement, right? Create private Facebook groups. We have the Inside Sales Expert one. We created 4,000 people that are in there following content for conversion strategies, ISA stuff, how do you hire ISAs, ISA coaching. And we haven't never marketed that. It was all organic. We have private Just Do It movement groups for team leaders or agents that's trying to build teams, or if they're a team leader or owner trying to go to that agent team lead position to the CEO model, right? We got private groups for that. And you want to be able to create funnels to get people information for what they're currently looking for off of your content. But you want to be able to understand your audience better so you can start to customize your language, your message, and hone that in for people that are following you, right? And you could do that through like socialblade.com, socialmentions.com, brandingyourself.com. If you as you're building out your internet presence, you might want to track who's posting about you, talking about you. So google.com/alerts. Adam Bailey's kind of a common name. A couple times a week I get dinged about Adam Bailey, but I want to track what's being said about me. I want to figure out who my audience is, and then I want to be able to really go deep with that audience to change their life. And so you really want to start a movement, and you really want to start a movement to really impact and start to change the real estate industry and the way things are done today, because where we're going to be at in 5 years from now is totally different from where we're at today. Where we were at just 3 years ago was drastically different from where we're at today. Create your movement, evolve, and just do it.